What's going on, guys? Manchester United 0, Cardiff 2, and yo, that game was complete madness for several reasons. It was pretty much more the same, if I'm honest, more the same bullshit. And after the game, well, even during the game, there were loads of people calling for Ollie to get sacked, and that I wasn't one of them, but it's got to the point where like the honeymoon period's worn off now, and we're starting to see a whole load of patterns appearing that I don't know, a lot of fans don't like, me included, innit? Like, I stand by me saying I want to see the kind of players that this guy brings in the summer and what his intent is before I judge him, innit? Because I'm very much aware that he's inherited a squad of Sir Alex Ferguson, LVG, David Moyes and Mourinho players, innit? Like, this is not his squad of players. It's not. However, I've gone on the record to say previously under the last manager that with these players, them man need to be getting more out of them than they are. And I stand by that. Because as much as a lot of these players are not Manchester United level, yeah, we don't even play football as good as teams like Bournemouth. Teams like Bournemouth that have inferior players to us and play better football than us. That's down to the coaching. That's not down to the players' ability, bruv. It's not. Because even if man wants to play youth and that, I look at players like Andreas Pereira, technically very good footballer. McTominay is not an amazing footballer, but he's efficient. He can do a job. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you look at the Pogbas, you look at the Martials, even the Lingards and the Rashfords. As much as these man, I don't really rate, yeah, but they're better than like what other managers are doing jobs with. So what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Does that mean the Bournemouth manager is better than Ollie? Like, do you see what I'm trying to say? Because the actual caliber of the football hasn't changed. Like, when Klopp first came in at Liverpool, he had players that he didn't want, even though on paper the results didn't look better than Brendan Rodgers. You could see the style of play changing. You could see what he's trying to implement. With Ollie, I can't see that. And that was my main criticism with Maureen as well. I was like, bro, what kind of football are we trying to play other than the fact that we don't run, like we don't keep the ball well, we don't attack with any purpose, there's no patterns, there's no attacking shape. There was only defensive shape, and even that went out the window. It feels like more the same with Ollie, to be honest. Like, when we're attacking, like, I don't know what he tells us to do. When we press, it's not a zonal press. Like, it's like every man are just running for the sake of running. Like, that's what it feels like. And I have to be fair here, innit? Because loads of people are like, yo, if it was Mourinho, you'd be calling for him to get sacked. With the run of games and results, yeah, any decent club sacks, man, innit? Like, that's the reality. I'm not saying I want him sacked. I'm saying if that's Florentino Perez, like I said yesterday, he's getting sacked. Real Madrid sacked 2 managers in the season. Like, there's no room for sentiment in it. Like, it's about winning at Real Madrid. I respect that. It's not like that at this club. This club's a joke. It's not about winning at all, bruv. It's about selling shirts and selling mugs and all that shit. So, it's very frustrating. And I will stand by that because I've seen enough in certain players to know that we should be playing better football than we're playing. And that makes me think, what are these guys being coached? Like, what are these guys being told to do? Because right now, I can't see it. Like, loads of people question Oli tactically. I genuinely believe that this squad of players under a Pep, under a Klopp, under a Pochettino, yeah, these men finish in the top 4. I do genuinely believe that. Because as much as they're not of the level that we know Manchester United to be at, they're not at that Champions League competing level. These men are good enough to be in the top 4. Like, man for man, they are in it. Like, we've got players that are not performing, but these men individually are good enough to be in the top 4. They are. So when I'm looking at this, like when I look at Chelsea, like Chelsea in the top 4, Chelsea have had a horrible, inconsistent run. Chelsea have been so poor. Even the manager's been getting stick, and the fans want the manager out, but their man finished ahead of us. Do you see how bad this is right now? Now, even when I watched the game against Cardiff, this is a championship team we're playing. A championship team. and we're not creating chances. Man could talk about the defense all they want, yeah. Like Mason looked good. That was the only highlight of the game for me. His movement was brilliant. You can see he was a bit nervous. He snatched at a few chances that he wouldn't have snatched at the reserves. But his home debut, like, you're a Manchester boy, you're going to be nervous, innit? So I excused him. But he was still getting into positions that Rashford ain't been getting into all season. His movement, he's shown that he's got a brain. He's shown he's got a bit about him. I'm disappointed that it's taken to the end of the season, the last game of the season, for him to get a game. In my opinion, that guy should have been starting like a while ago. Because if you're not going to start Martial down the middle, which you should, then Rashford's been shit from since even before the PSG game. Like, people are forgetting, yeah, like one speculative dead shot, yeah, that Buffon spilled, and a penalty. That was his contribution. But because the penalty was the match-winning pen, everyone's forgetting that Rashford has been poor for at least 4 months. At least 4 months, man. And he don't get the stick that he should be getting. And we saw after the game as well, Pogba getting a lot of abuse. And all of this comes from the media, unfortunately, guys. Because a lot of these English players are shit, bro. I told you. Like, our worst players in our squad are English. I tweeted it. Like, it's horrible. When you look at Ashley Young, he's been our worst player consistently for the 12 months. Or the 9 months, should I say. He don't get anywhere near as much abuse as he should get. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he doesn't get any abuse, because all players get abuse. But Ashley Young should be getting the abuse that Pogba's getting. Even though Pogba shouldn't really be... Ashley Young shouldn't be getting that level of abuse. I don't think anyone should. But if it's merited abuse, Ashley Young should be getting that abuse, because he's been our worst player consistently. But these men have got mad venom for Paul Pogba. Our top scorer, our top assister, our World Cup winner, our Ballon d'Or nominated, our FIFA Pro 11 nominated. All of these things, like the guy's individual honours even before he came to the club, and while he's been at the club. We won the Europa League, he was in the team of the year. And this is the kind of stick, this is how you're treating, man. And then you've got shit players like Ashley Young, Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, yeah, young Rashford, and even Luke Shaw. Statistically, yeah, man got player of the year, and his cross percentage ain't even better than Antonio Valencia's, bro. What Luke Shaw offers is exactly what Valencia offers. Get down the wing, might cross it, might not. When Valencia crosses it, his crossing accuracy is actually higher. Or he just cuts back and passes it inside. He offers exactly the same thing as Valencia. Him and Valencia both had the same leg break. But guess what? One's treated one way, one's treated the other, bruv. Do you know what I mean? Because he's the English darling, bruv. They're both useless at fullback. That's the reality of it. They're both shit. And statistics actually prove that. And I don't need stats here to back up that the guy is useless. I don't need it, innit? Because I've been saying it all season. But then when I actually saw the stats and I saw that he's 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, even 10th, yeah, in the league for certain parts of the game in terms of output, it summed up exactly what I already knew about him. But people ain't trying to see that, and it's because they're British. That's why. You know what I'm saying? The reason why Rashford don't get the stick that he should get is because he's British. Do you know what I mean? The reason why Pogba and Martial are made the scapegoats are because they're not British, and also because they're black as well. That's a fact. Because man ain't giving Alexis Sanchez the same aggro that they're giving Martial and Pogba. Alexis Sanchez is on over 400 grand a week. He's wearing the number 7. He's 30 years old. He's experienced. He's supposed to be the man. He's supposed to be our talisman, really. He's meant to be. Because Pogba's not our captain, you know. Ashley Young is. Sanchez was supposed to be the experienced guy. The last piece of the jigsaw that was supposed to come and drag us and take us to the next level. He didn't do that. Man's out here playing pianos and walking dogs. And no one's got no hate for this guy, you know. Because it's media driven. Every time United don't play well, it's Pogba or it's Martial because he don't smile, bruv. That's what it is. And it comes from the media. A lot of these fans, they got hatred for these men because of that. Sterling got the same thing. Why? Because he was born in Jamaica, that's why. If Raheem Sterling was born here, he wouldn't have got half the shit that he got. And also, if he was born here and he stayed at his club, because he left Liverpool to win titles, blood. That's why he left Liverpool, and he said it. The man were like, oh, he's left for the money, this, that, and the other. Bro, he left to win titles, and he's winning titles. But even if he did leave for the money, how many of these other players don't leave for the money? Like, how many other players leave for money if they want to leave for money, bro? Like, it don't make no sense. But them man are like, oh, right, he's greedy, this, that, and the other, making this false narrative about Raheem because of where he was born. And that's all it is. It's bigotry, bro. These man, it's like these man want this Manchester United team to just be fully made of white British players if they can help it. And if not, then fuck it. You can be black and British, like, and yeah, cool. That's it. Know what I mean? And the terraces reflect society, unfortunately. And what we've seen recently in the last couple of years in society in Britain is that these men want their country a certain way, innit? And that's why Pogba and Martial and these men will get the brunt of it. Because in all honesty, the English players at Manchester United are shit. And that's just how it is. And that's not Mason included. Because the new crop of guys we got coming through, like the Garners, the Gomez, and that, these men are techie, innit? They're very techie. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next season with Ollie. But I'm going to give him the transfer window because I feel like he deserves it. I feel like I saw Maureen bring in 11 man and he still couldn't like make a mark on this team. I have to blame him for that. You can't sign 11 man. That's a whole new lineup. And the football hasn't improved. Nothing ain't improved. You're still complaining about you need a centre-back and you already had 2 centre-backs that you signed. Like, he didn't recruit well. So I have to blame him for that. Right now, Ollie ain't brought in no one. We've been linked with the Swansea player. I'm going to talk about that on Instagram, on my IGTV. I'm going to do a video about him and also about Ander Herrera. So make sure you go over to the Instagram at Rants and Bants on Instagram. Make sure you follow that and then check out the IGTV video on that. But Ollie hasn't recruited yet. So as much as I know that if he wasn't made permanent manager, I definitely wouldn't still be pushing for him for manager, because who would? That's nonsensical. People calling each other flip-flop fans on Twitter, which I completely disagree with, because certain man want Ollie out now. My thing is, yeah, if a fan changes their mind, they're allowed to change their mind. Part of being a human being is being able to assess evidence and say, you know what, maybe I got this wrong. Or this piece of evidence wasn't available to me at the time when I made this statement. Now I've seen this, I'd like to change my mind. We're allowed to do that. They don't make you a flip-flop. There's nobody, especially not match-going fans, that, as I tweeted yesterday, went to the Arsenal FA Cup game, went to the Tottenham away game, and even the Crystal Palace game when Ron bagged 2 goals, yeah? Nobody went to any of those games and didn't get sucked into the Ollies at the wheel gas. No one. Because it was doom and gloom after Maureen, and then the energy, the resurgence, the passion, everything came back. And everyone was like, yo, I don't want this feeling to end. So everyone that went to the game, they were singing Ollies at the wheel. They were jumping up and down. You don't have seen the fan cams. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all human beings. Man are going to get sucked in. But now the dust has settled. I think he's lost 10 out of the last 12 games. That's relegation form. That is sackable form. It is. Again, I reiterate, I'm not saying sack, man. I'm saying if he was to get sacked tomorrow, you couldn't say that he doesn't deserve it. So it's one of them ones where, like, as much as I don't agree with these fans that he should be sacked, I'm not looking at what they're saying as this outrageous or it's wild. It's not wild to me, bruv. It's completely justified from the point of view that they're seeing it from. And that's what I don't like about a lot of football fans. They're going to look at someone else's opinion, and because they don't agree, it's like, nah. Like, even if I don't agree with your opinion, if I can see where you've kind of based this opinion on, I'm more than happy. I'm more than happy to entertain it, innit? It's when people come out with outlandish things, or when people think that they want to abuse our fucking most productive player and the reason why we even finished in the top 6 in the first place, but then you're letting off certain other men that are throwing up mediocre performances week in, week out, that's when I'm not going to agree with you. Like, I'm just not going to agree with you, and I'm not going to have it, bruv. I'm simply not going to have it. So this whole thing now with, like, possibly people wanting to get rid of Ollie, I also tweeted as well, before someone brings it up, if I was Ollie, I would resign. That's what I tweeted. And the reason why I would do that is, man, them talk about loving the club all the time, yeah? If me, as a Man United fan, my whole life, if I was the manager and I genuinely could see that, you know what, this job is bigger than me, and, like, I don't know, if I wasn't 100% sure that I was going to be a success, I would let them give it to a man who could. I'd resign. That's what I would do. Do you know what I mean? Scholes went to Oldham the other day. He had big plans for them. He got in there and then he looked at it and he said, you know what? This don't really look like how I imagined it to look. I'm going to walk away. And it takes a big man here to put their ego aside and say, you know what? Maybe this job's too big for me, or this isn't what I signed up for, and just walked away. Either way. So if my man loves the club as much as he's saying he does, yeah, like, me and my opinion, I'm walking away, bruv. I'd resign, because it ain't looking good for him right now. Because I feel like if he doesn't recruit well in the summer, I give it 5 games and the fans will be onto him. Legend or not, innit? Legend or not. I always said with all these ex-Manchester United players, you're a legend on the pitch. That's cool, innit? But everything you do off the pitch, I'm going to judge you for that only. Like, you know what I mean? I don't judge Giggsy as a footballer on what he's done off the pitch. I can separate that. I don't judge Keano, Scholesy, Neville, or any of these guys off the pitch the way I judge them on the pitch. On the pitch, legends, done a lot of good things for the club, respect you highly. Off the pitch, a lot of these men, I don't have time for their opinions, because a lot of it is agenda-driven and biased, and it comes from a sinister place, innit? And it's one of them things where it's going to be the same with Ollie. Like, these men will hang him. They will hang him if he doesn't have a great summer. So I feel like he either needs to know something that we don't and have some man lined up, or he needs to walk, bro. If I'm honest, if he's not sure. I hope that he's sure. I hope that he's got man lined up. I hope that he's got these things and he's going to make these signings early. He's going to be decisive, and we're going to get our business done like ASAP. Because a lot of teams are doing their business early. So I don't even really know. Like, there's not even really too much we can say about the performances. Like, the substitutions were poor again. Like, Ollie's been doing that recently. I have to be honest, guys. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, his substitutions have baffled me at times. His lineups have baffled me. And again, if it was Maureen, I'd stick it on him. So I have to be honest. Like, Young, Jones and Smalling at the back again. Like, why are you doing this, bruv? Young's the captain. Why are you doing this? Like, man could talk about the Glazers, Woodward, and the Glazers are not playing Ashley Young every game, even though statistically he's obviously the worst player. Man's turning over the ball. Every other pass, he's giving it away. And you've got the armband on him. That ain't got nothing to do with Ed Woodward. That's got nothing to do with the Glazers, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? Jones and Smalling as a partnership should just never happen. Again, that's got nothing to do with the Glazers, but you're doing that. The McTominay to centre-back. That's you again. You shouldn't be doing that. That's got nothing to do with the Glazers. People love a fucking scapegoat, bro. Like, it's very okay to blame the manager for the players they pick. That's one thing, it's okay. And he has not selected he hasn't selected well a lot of the time. Tactically, a lot of men are starting to say that he's starting to look very out of his depth and ordinary. I can't really disagree with them. Like, I can't. And this is the problem. This is the problem for me, because it feels like the club's been very reactionary. The club, when they hired Ollie, people asked me, do you think that that the timing of his appointment was wrong? I didn't think the timing was wrong. And I still don't think the timing was wrong. The reason why I don't think the timing was wrong is because players need to know who they're playing for next season, the players that are at the club and that need to sign, and also players that you want to get in the summer You're speaking to them 3-4 months before the end of the season. They need to know who they're playing for. Because if you're going to be organised, you can't go to a player 3-4 months for the end of the season and say, yeah, Man United, we want to sign you, but we don't know who our manager is going to be. Because that matters. So if you think that the season ends and then man start going looking for players, you don't understand the game. That's not how it works. So I felt like the appointment was at the right time. It really was. But was the appointment the right choice? We will see after this window. After this window, we will see. Because at the moment, Ollie's saying all the right things. But again, like it's all passion, bruv. It's all these passionistas, bruv. What I call them, the passion merchants. Like loads of people talking about pride and passion and all of that and the United DNA and the United way. That don't exist, bruv. Like to a certain point, it don't. Like the United way is winning, bro. And being positive. That's the United way. That's it. Sir Alex Ferguson played the Sir Alex Ferguson way. Sir Matt Busby played the Sir Matt Busby way, fam. That's it. There's no United DNA, bruv. George Best, one of the club's best ever players, was an Irishman, bruv. He didn't have United DNA, bruv. He had George Best DNA, cuz. Like, that was it. Dennis Law played for City. Well, he didn't have United DNA, bruv. He had Dennis Law DNA, fam. Eric Cantona had Eric Cantona DNA, bruv. Like, there's not players that just have United DNA, bro. It's either you're a good player or you're not, innit? And the same goes with coaches and managers. Like, either you're a good coach or you're a good manager or you're just not in it. Like, it's not about the United way no more, bruv. I think we need to do away with the whole United way thing, bruv. It's upsetting, but that's the reality. And that's why last season when I was screaming for Poch when I wanted Maureen out, it's not about the Manchester United way. It's about the right way, innit? Like the successful way. Pochettino's a top coach. He's proven. He did it at Southampton on a small budget with players that are not better than the players that we have at our disposal now. He's worked wonders. 2 windows with no signings at Tottenham and he's got them in a Champions League final. That's just what it is, bro. When you're a good coach, you're a good coach. Like, it's not about DNA, fam. So that is why I wanted him at the time. And now the jury's well and truly out on Ollie. It is. It is. Because as much as I just want to back man, yeah, blindly, I can't do that because it's not in my makeup to back anyone blindly. I back Pogba because he's proven. Man's got a World Cup medal. He's been nominated for the Ballon d'Or more than once. He's made the FIFA 11 team more than once. My man's got Golden Boy in under 17s, all these other things. Like, the guy throughout his whole career has been the guy everywhere he's been. In our academy, he was the guy. Like, he's always been the guy. Like, he's got accolades. Like, he's got clout. He's done it. When man are backing other players in this squad that have nothing, achieved nothing in football, they have nothing to show for their careers at all. Some of them don't even have any medals. None. A man are backing them. I can't back someone until they prove that they're at a level that I can actually vouch for them. I can vouch for Pogba because I know when he does leave and he goes to Real Madrid or Juventus or PSG, whoever can afford him, he's going to win things and he's going to be seen as one of the best players in the world because he's got it. So it's not a risk. Like, it literally is me looking at all the data and saying, you know what, this guy, like, he's a player. Everyone can see it. The players, the fans at other clubs can see it. They can't believe it. They're like, how are you, man, treating your best player like that? Can't believe it. I'll vouch for man on that. With Ollie, I can't vouch for him because he ain't done nothing. Like, Sir Jeff Boycott said on the Manchester United Awards the other day, he was like, right, Ollie ain't got no pedigree. So I'm not confident. And I could understand that. Loads of people were like, rah, like, people questioning how big a fan he is. Like, it's okay to say something against the club or against the manager or against players. That doesn't make you less of a fan. But if you're going to say things, have facts and figures to back them up, innit? Don't just say certain things. Do you know what I mean? So when people say, oh, the sure thing's an agenda, it's not an agenda because all the numbers actually agree with me. The numbers actually back up that everything I'm saying is factual. There's no agenda. Like, when you talk about Pogba being lazy, yeah, but he's covered more ground than anyone else in the team, He's got the highest output. He's got more goals, more assists, highest pass completion, like all of these things. That's an agenda because the numbers don't add up to what you man are saying. So anyone that thinks that Ollie should be sacked, I'm not going to turn around and say you're not a real United fan or you don't know what you're talking about, because the numbers actually do agree with you. The reason why I'm not going to say that Ollie should be sacked now is because I want to see, for all this big talk he's been given, like certain man won't be here, we're going to be successful again, all these things. I want to know what this guy's plan is. He might have sat down with Woodward and they might have had a wicked plan and they got all these men lined up and they're going to be a massive clear out in the summer and everyone's going to be shocked. Then I don't want to be that guy that's like, you know what, Ollie knew what he was doing the whole time, this, that and the other. No, I don't want to be that guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say straight up, until I see who he buys, I ain't going to judge him on this, because this is still Maureen's players. It's still Maureen's squad, innit? However, if come the window closing, he hasn't shown me that he signed well with intent, and in pre-season I'm not seeing a different style of football and some sort of progression, then my eyes are fully on, man. And then I don't think he'll make it to Christmas. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Obviously the game was shit, so it's a different style of match review today, man. And yeah, make sure you give me your comments. Let me know what you think about all the topics discussed below. Rants Red Talk is still to come. I've got your questions, so I'm gonna head out to film with Flex, do the Flex and Rant show, the WTF show. Then I'm gonna come back and film Rants Red Talk. That'll be out later on. And also make sure you head over to Instagram to check out the video about that Ander Herrera and the Daniel James thing. As usual, it's been emotional, guys. Make sure you jump on the Twitter at Rants and Bants. It's the same for the Insta. Make sure you smash the like button. And yeah, I'll be back.